Hey guys, my name is Rob, and today we're unboxing and kind of reviewing the Xbox Elite Series 2 Black Ops 6 Edition. Obviously, the Elite 2 isn't new by any means, but with the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Microsoft has added this skin as an option in Xbox Design Labs. I play a lot of COD. In general, I prefer Black Ops games. Treyarch is my favorite COD developer, so I picked one of these up mostly as a collectible. That said, in addition to the cosmetics, we'll also go over the features of the Elite 2 while we're at it. I've talked about this in prior videos, but the Elite 2 was the first Pro controller I ever really loved. I've since found others that are arguably better in many ways and for several reasons, so my current Elite 2 doesn't get much use anymore, and I don't really intend to play with this one, but I'm still excited to open it up and check it out. So I think this looks great, and we'll get a closer look at all the details in this video, obviously, but first I just want to point out that I just went with all of the default options for this controller in Xbox Design Labs. The body is the main thing. It has the Black Ops 6 skin, and then all the other options are also preset as far as colors for buttons, thumbsticks, bumpers, and triggers, etc. And you could go through and change those, but I wanted to order it as is for the full effect. And also because I assume adjusting this would affect shipping times, since once you add it to your cart, you do get this message stating that the customized orders are delivered in 3 to 4 weeks, and non-customized orders are delivered in 2 to 5 business days. That seems to have worked out since I ordered mine on October 17th, and it came in on October 27th, and that was shipped from China, so not bad at all. I also didn't add any accessories with my order. You can add a set of back paddles for $27, extra thumbsticks and an extra D-pad for $30, and a carrying case with a charger for $40, or for $60, you can upgrade to the full Elite package and get all of that stuff, so total cost will be $210 rather than the $165 that I paid. I didn't do this since I've owned several Elite controllers, so I already have all these accessories. I also prefer the aftermarket Elite back paddles made by Scuff. These from Microsoft are fine, but I like the Scuff ones more, and I'll show you examples of both of these momentarily. So since I didn't order any extras, there's not going to be much in the box. We have the controller, which I'll set to the side for now. We've got a USB-A to USB-C cable. This is a 10-foot braided cable, so it is durable and good for playing wired if you're so inclined. Then we have this kind of envelope with the paperwork. We have the user manual, which is pretty large and includes some color, so not bad at all. Then there's a product and regulatory guide, which includes the warranty info, as the Elite 2 does have a 1-year limited warranty. And now we get to the actual gamepad, which again I think looks really cool. It has the Black Ops 6 color scheme and a ton of detail. These grips are rubberized, so I guess I have a little bit of concern about how well the details will hold up as the grips kind of wear. But again, I don't intend to do much playing with this controller. It's just something to consider if you're thinking of ordering one for daily use. There's no design or graphic on the back, which is fine, but the rubberized grips do wrap all the way around the handles. If you order paddles with the controller, these are what it will come with. They are considerably smaller than the ones that came on the Elite Series 1, which was an improvement in my opinion. And then these are the aftermarket paddles made by Scuff. They don't change the position of the paddles very much, but the actual part you press is larger without feeling obtrusive at all to me. Keep in mind I do prefer to use my middle finger for both the top and bottom paddle, and that's what makes these the most comfortable paddles of any controller to me, because it's so very easy to hit either button, and I absolutely never have an unintentional input. So shout out to Scuff for the one good thing they've ever done. While we're on the back, the Elite 2 does have 3-way trigger locks, so in the first position you have full range analog triggers, then in the second position it cuts out about 50% of the range, and then the last position cuts out about 80 to 85%. These aren't micro switch trigger locks unfortunately, just physical trigger stops, but they do feel good, at least when they're new. This is an Elite 2 I've had for a couple of years and used a whole lot. The right trigger lock especially has worn a ton, depresses further, makes an awful sound, and I assume will break completely eventually. The Elite 2 does not have Hall effect thumbsticks. These are standard potentiometer thumbsticks, and we'll look at these in testing. We have a membrane D-pad as well as membrane face buttons. The center buttons are menu, view, and a profile button, as we do have on-the-fly profile swapping. Along with the bumpers on top, we have a pairing button. Then on the bottom of the controller, we have a 3.5mm headphone jack, as well as the accessories port. Man, the more I stare at this controller, the more I appreciate the details of the design. I honestly might have ordered the additional thumbsticks if I could have gotten them in this same shade of orange, but unfortunately that's not an option. The thumbstick caps are magnetic and super easy to swap out. They just pull off, and they also have a pretty unique feature. As you can see here, there's a screw inside the thumbstick stems, and they come with a small key to turn that screw to adjust the thumbstick tension. I forgot to show this during the unboxing, but that key was just right here with the paperwork in the box. It's not freely adjustable, it just has 3 settings. You turn clockwise to increase the tension and counterclockwise to decrease it, and you can feel it click into place in each setting. The tension difference between the loosest and tightest setting is very noticeable. Prior to recent FlyDigi controllers like the Apex 4 and the Vader 4 Pro, this was pretty much the best tension adjustment option on any Pro controller, and it's still not bad. If you were to order this gamepad with the full Elite setup, this is what would come in the box. You have a hard carrying case, and inside you get an extra D-pad, 4 additional thumbstick caps, the tension adjustment tool, and the 4 paddles, which I just didn't put back in here, but they go in these slots. And then under the controller you have a magnetic USB-C charging base. The controller connects pretty securely to it, and you can sit it out flat on your desk or your setup, but you can also leave it inside the case, and the case has a pass-through port for the USB-C connector, so you can actually leave the base and the controller inside the case to charge and store. The extra D-pad will be a standard 4-way, so you get both a cross and circular D-pad, and they will be the same color. I just have a few of each, and the black one happened to be already in this case. For the thumbstick caps, you get 2 of these short ones that are the same height as the default sticks, but they're wider, and I love these on the left stick. And then there's another short cap that's convex instead of concave with a circular grip pattern. And then we get 1 tall stick, which many people like to use on the right for more precise aiming. This is the Xbox Accessories app, which we're just going to look at briefly, mainly due to this specific feature and button mapping. Again, this is something I talked about in a recent video, but on the Elite Series 2, you can reassign every button on the controller other than the View, Menu, and Profile button, and you can also assign these buttons to both gamepad and keyboard inputs, and you can do this on both PC and Xbox, making this literally the only controller you can use on an Xbox and utilize keyboard inputs in-game. I wanted to point this out again because this specific feature was just added a couple of months ago, and I feel like a lot of people, including people who already own an Elite Series 2, don't even know about it. Under thumbstick settings, you can adjust the sensitivity curve and the circularity algorithm, but unfortunately there's no option to adjust dead zones. You can adjust min and max dead zones for the triggers, and you can also adjust vibration and change the color of the home button, which is set independently for each profile. Okay, so we're in Gamepad Tester here, and this single test is the most damning issue that has always existed with the Elite controllers. As you can see, this gamepad does not have a consistent resting value, and beyond that I can actually set the sticks off of center and they kind of just stay there. Keep in mind this is a brand new controller, but I've had this same issue with every Elite controller I've ever owned, and it gets worse as the sticks get worn from gameplay. If you buy an Elite controller, just know that if you play games where you can adjust the dead zones, you're pretty likely to have noticeable stick drift out of the box if you try setting very low or 0 dead zone, and if not, it'll catch up to you soon. Yes, this is a problem with all potentiometer thumbsticks, but it's much worse with the Elite Series 2 for some reason. As far as the circularity test goes, these sticks are pretty average in that department with no real issues that we can see here. The stick circularity algorithm is rectangular, so the diagonals should be registering inputs beyond the boundaries of the circle, just like we're seeing. Another unavoidable issue with the Elite Series 2 is that this is an official Microsoft gamepad, and like all first-party Xbox controllers, the polling rate is locked at 125 Hz. This limit isn't based on the console, it's the actual board and the controller that is locked, which means you can't overclock the controller or do anything else to adjust this report rate, it just is what it is. And then finally in testing, we do get one win with the Elite Series 2, which is the stick resolution. The Elite Series 2 measures around 375 analog points, which is one of the better resolutions you'll find among officially supported Xbox controllers. I've talked about this a lot lately because although I don't have the hard evidence to back up this claim, I personally feel like resolution is super important and has a dramatic effect on the actual feel of the thumbsticks in-game. So wrapping things up here, I bought the Black Ops 6 Elite 2 because it looks cool. I thought it would look really cool displayed with my other licensed controllers like the Assassin's Creed Vader 4 and the Iron Man G7 HE and the Black Myth Wukong Apex 4 if it ever shows up. It does a good job of looking cool, and beyond that I still maintain that it does a lot of good things performance-wise. I love the rear paddle design, it's my favorite of any Pro controller, and I love the adjustable thumbstick tension, though if you're playing on PC there are some better options for that now, most notably the Vader 4. I also can't overstate how helpful it can be to have an Xbox controller that can map keyboard inputs and actually use them while playing on console, and again, this is literally the only option for that. You can't even do it with the Elite Series 1. That said, if you're currently in the market for a Pro controller for everyday use, it's pretty hard to recommend the Elite 2. If you're on PC, it's a no-brainer to pick up the Vader 4 Pro, which can do everything the Elite can do, only better, and for half the price. It's admittedly a little more muddled if you play on Xbox. I originally replaced my Elite 2 with a GameStar G7, and while I do find that controller more responsive and I feel more accurate when using it, it's missing a whole lot of features. A lot of people would suggest the Razer Wolverine V3 Pro, but honestly, I would still take an Elite 2 over that $200 controller for many of the reasons that I've already talked about in previous reviews. I'm still hoping we see an Elite Series 3 in the future that includes Hall Effect or TMR thumbsticks, micro-switch trigger locks, mechanical face buttons, and a more respectable polling rate. But until then, Xbox players are kind of just stuck picking from a lot of mediocre options. I hope this video helped you out, and if so, please subscribe if you haven't already. Likes are also appreciated, and I do try to react and respond to as many comments as possible. I'll be doing more reviews regularly, so I hope to see you back here again soon. Thanks for watching.